I heard it was up to 40 people, or at least people. So,
Yep, I think we are ready. Good. So, hello everyone. There is background, sir. Maybe I move to my office. Just 1 second.
It's okay for now.
Yeah. Because they start. Maybe I can just make it from here. Actually, it's much better. So, I think we can start. So, hello everyone, and it's a pleasure to meet you again in our weekly event about inclusivity and diversity and education and how we can educate people. So today, actually, we have Mr. Haseeb Ahmad, who just finished his master degree at Tromsø University. And actually, the topic is, I think it's from my point of view, is very hot. It's about Pakistan floods crisis. And I think Haseeb will give us like a talk or a general discussion about challenge and government responsibility and sustainable development. And I see this topic is very, very relevant to what we are doing because I think the core idea of inspiring the mind is that we are working around inclusion and diversity in our society. And inclusion and diversity can't be achieved without including nations that are underdeveloping, like Africa and some countries in Far East. So actually today Haseeb will give us a clear example of a challenge that facing developing country. And this is challenge, I think it's also affect developed country as well. But it's really, really big matter for the developing country to be aware that there is something there and try if there is possibility to help them as well. So I think Haseeb, the floor is for you. Please go
All
ahead.
right. Okay. Hello, everyone. And first of all, thank you, everyone, to join us. And maybe some people will be joining later, but then we can start now. So the topic we are discussing today in this Inspiring Mind series of lectures, I think, is Pakistan flood crisis. Actually, I worked with Tamir on my master thesis on it, and we explored different aspects and challenges that the country is facing in this aspect. And our research was like on master level, so we didn't go that far beyond, like because we didn't have that much time, and then we tried to like include like only some aspects, like for example citizen science engagement, like meeting people and asking them from the flood affected areas, like what they have, what kind of challenges they have, what kind of problems they are facing, and how in long term they feel like this problem will sustain or not, and how. But we asked them like different things, but yeah, like I will discuss that later. Actually, I'm just giving you an overview what we actually worked on. And Pakistan is a big country in the world, like in respect to the population and the area and its geographical importance as well, like how it's located between in the Central Asia and the neighboring countries, and its importance as like in respect of different things, like as I said, the geographical, but like on the international level, how it affects the industries and economy of the world as well, and different and other different factors as well. So Pakistan is an important country in that way. Like the population is almost 280 million now. 280 million is a big population. So and so it's not only the number of people. It's like on one end we say like every life matters, right? So these kind of crises and these kind of climate crisis, when they hit the country, everyone is almost affected. Like for example, in 2022 the flood came, and 15 million people were affected directly, and 30 million people were affected indirectly, because of the after effects of the floods and everything. So it's like just an example. And since Pakistan was formed like in 1947, after that, it's been an history, you know. The first floods came in 1955 and then 1970 and then 1992. I'm talking about only the major floods, not about the small floods and everything. And then 2010 floods, 2010 floods, I remember like how drastic they were. And I was like an eyewitness of all those floods because my hometown was actually affected. And it was like hell on the earth, I would say. And then in 2022, it was like quite drastic as well. The causes of these floods are like kind of same that every time these are the main causes, which are like climate. You know, the climate change is is the biggest cause. But you know, like Pakistan is a country full of glaciers. It's like the biggest country in the world who has the most glaciers in the world. It has 7,000 glaciers. So glacial melting is one of the reason we have flooding. And then deforestation is happening, land misuse is happening, poor drainage and infrastructure. For example, the dams are very old and like not up to date. And then we have unregular like urban planning, like because of a lot of factors, like the government is not actually really concerned on that. Like they have other issues. Right now, the situation in Pakistan is like very not good politically. It's because the government is actually focusing on like some things and leaving behind other things which are very important for every person. But like they just try to like the military establishment, first of all. Like actually, it's very hard to talk about these things on any platform because there are a lot of restrictions to talk about these things about the establishment of Pakistan or something. But actually, the political situation in Pakistan is right now is very kind of vulnerable, you can say. So the government's focus is not actually on these issues, environmental issues. They're concerning about their political or their future, or like what political party they will support and take into the government, you know. So actually, it's actually the military and establishment of Pakistan who controls everything. So it's not one of their priority to work on climate change or work on the like the floods or like the flood resilience, for example. Uh, so the challenges in flood management in Pakistan is like, first of all, I told you this weak policy implementation. They have policy, they make policies, but the implementation of policy is not there, you know. If they implement the policy, then it's like the following the implementation of policy is weak. Then lack of early warning system, like the whole world is now working on AI control warning system and very up to date weather radars and everything, but Pakistan is still lagging behind in that factor as well. And then a lot of other factors like so economic and social disruption. Like for example, when the flood comes, they don't have that much resources to support the people who are flood affected. So the early response from the authorities is weak because they don't have that much funding, and they're looking forward to have fundings from other countries and, for example, United Nations. And they're actually mostly looking forward to the aid from United Nations or other countries or something. So this is one of the issues as well. And then there are a lot of problems that don't get highlighted because the people, the flood affectees, they are not mostly able to talk about that because they don't approach them. They just help them, but they don't go to the flood affected areas and talk to people like, what's your problem and how you feeling that, how you can even contribute to help us building more flood resilience in Pakistan. So these are the problem linked to all this flood management. Then governmental role, I told you, is like almost nothing. I will say like they pretend to like work during these all these crises and flood events, but the thing is like the intentions. It feels like the intention of governmental institutes or departments like NDMA, for example, which is National Disaster Management Authority, which is responsible to controlled and to help the people during this all disaster, or even before that, like to issue some warning system or something, but they don't work effectively that much. So mostly it's like the people, the communities of that area, the people around, they actually help themselves. They are building all these embankments and barriers uh, in their agricultural lands and everything, because mostly the cities are not affected. Like the urban area, the rural areas are mostly affected by the floods in Pakistan. The river system is very vast, and like we have five major rivers in Pakistan. Like Indus River is the biggest river, and and it's very wide, and it's like a river. Indus River is actually the reason, like the major cause of the flooding when we have more overflow of water in the Indus River after monsoon rains and glacial melting. Then we have flooding, but they're not building embankments or like a long-term solution around the Indus River to prevent all the rural areas which are close to the Indus River. So they know what's the problem. They know the challenge, but their response or their action is weak. Policy gaps is there. I told you the weak policy implementation. Um, they mostly government actually they're looking to build something which is like committees, like short-term committees or like response, but that is like very short-term, and they don't want that to act long-term. So, for example, if a new government came, they will actually remove or like remove all that department. They will say like, okay, the new government came, we will act like we will build a new one, or we will build a new department or something. So all that work that the previous department did, that is like wasted. Uh, then I'm actually this is I can tell you a lot of things about the floods and causes and like how it's working and the facts and figures. But like I actually from this lecture I just want to highlight that how life of one person, for example, there are like millions of people who are affected by the floods every time we have floods, because I belong to that area which is affected, and I know the struggle they have. I know I through this research we did, like in this master thesis, the important part of the thesis was to engage with people, the flood affectees. So I traveled to in November in 2023. I traveled to the one of the two flood affected areas in Punjab and Balochistan. It's like two different states of Pakistan, so provinces of Pakistan. So I was traveling. So I traveled like 23 kilometers from my hometown. And then when I went to the rural side, I was like noticing like for 10 kilometers, I was just looking around. For 10 kilometers, I just found one school. For 10-kilometer distance, I found one school there. I'm just telling you one factor only, like how. So one school, and in that 10 kilometers, I think there should be a population of 35 to 40,000 people at least. Even it wasn't a dense populated area. So imagine like there is one school for 35,000 to 40,000 people. And that school was actually destroyed by the floods. And after 1.5 year, they didn't even try to build that up or like build more schools. It doesn't it's like we are not going to the building more school. We just like rehabilitation of the renovation of that school or like restoring that school. They didn't do that. So the problem is on that level. When I went there and I have like a questionnaire, me and Tamer, we made a questionnaire for the students, for the people, sorry, for the flood affectees, that we will ask them this question, like, what do you think about climate change? What do you think how this future in the future it will be like that? What do you know about environmental factor? They didn't know that. They were not very educated. When I asked them any question, they were like telling me their problems, that we lost our lives. I lost someone in the floods. We didn't eat for that much time. We don't have good education. I still don't have home. I live outside or like in a shelter or something. I'm living in a tent. They were telling me about these things. They were expecting like for me, like maybe through me, like they will their voice will reach to a higher level and maybe someone can help them. So there were other very heart-wrenching things that I found there, like but the thing is, like, going deeper to what they feel actually, what they feel, how it feels like losing your home, how it feels like you're losing all your agricultural land that you work all your life to build, and how does it feel to not eating for a good for a week, even you had resources and all those resources are gone now. So this was all the things that I was feeling there. For research purpose, for our studies, we did, like, we put everything, like these are all the factors, this is how it should be improved. We worked on that, but like I want to raise my voice on that, like uh, why, like, on one side in the world, what's happening right now is like a war or a competition of technology and AI and like business and everything and building high-tech companies every day. One day you have one AI model introduced, the other day that business is growing up or something. And on the other side, like these countries, there are other big issues than flooding in Pakistan in the world. For example, the war things, Ukraine, Russia war, and war in Middle East, Palestine war, and everything, and Africa and everything. There are a very big problem than flooding in Pakistan. But still, I think this is a very big humanitarian crisis that this country is facing continuously, and there is no solution, big solution coming. Like for example, Netherlands, they were facing floods. They built a very good system to prevent floods. Even Bangladesh uh, is like developing country, is not like very developed country. They built a system for to control floods. Japan built a good system to control flooding, but on other hand, like Pakistan, which is a very big country and nuclear power, they're not doing anything to build a very efficient system or build enough dams or like a good infrastructure system or like a policy to work on that. So that's like a bit sad from a country like Pakistan. And then I told you like a lot of factors, like political instability is a big factor that these things are not happening. For example, one government come and they do a lot, and the next government actually they start from zero. One of the factor is like, for example, if the climate change is happening in Pakistan, so there should be like more people think like, okay, the carbon dioxide emission should be very high, so that's why there's more climate change in Pakistan and global warming and everything. Pakistan only contributes less than 1% of the carbon dioxide emission in the world. It's way less than what China, India, and these our neighboring countries are. China and India collectively they contribute 10% of the carbon dioxide emission in the world, and we do even less than 1%. But still, we have climate change, and we have these heavy monsoon rainfalls and increasing rising temperature, which is melting the glaciers and everything. So the problem is big. The problem is even more than like way above than on the country level. It's bigger. And like I was discussing with Tamir today, like it's everywhere now. Like right now in Tromso, we didn't used to have like more than 5 degrees or 4 degrees or three, even it's always minus temperature, in like negative temperature in Celsius. I'm talking about in Tromso, and now it's like 8 or 9 degrees. It's raining, and I can feel like everywhere the weather is changing drastically. Like in Europe, you had flooding in like, Catalonia or Valencia and Barcelona, and then you have floods in Norway. You had floods in Poland. It's everywhere now. It's not only in underdeveloped countries or South Asia where we have more monsoon rains and everything. It's everywhere now. And Italy and all the parts of the world are being affected. So the problem is everywhere. We need to address it as soon as possible. So I think everyone's voice matters. Like if I'm talking here and 9, 10 people are listening to me, maybe it creates an impact, maybe, and we will actually try to extend our this research. I was talking to Thomas that we will actually, I am writing a paper on that as well soon, and maybe in future we will work more on that. Maybe it helps uh with anything, with in anything. So I will be satisfied that we did something, because this problem is big, and it's long term. So if we don't act now, so you will see like losing thousands of life every year, and no one is doing something. Uh, my brother is a is a doctor. My elder brother and his friend, they visited Balochistan region, which was affected by the floods as well. They built a medical camp there to help. We were like interviewing people and taking pictures and videos and everything. But then we thought, okay, the two doctors are going as well, so we should have like a free medical camp there. So we set up a medical camp there, and we had like free medicine for them. More than 300 people visited that camp uh, in 3 to 4 hours, and we were like shocked. Like people are coming, and they had the kind of like problem and diseases that can like stay forever there, if no one is acting on that. And there was no medical facility in that big area, and I think there were like more than 60-70,000 flood affectees in that area. So I felt a lot like how these people are like hopeless. It's not their fault that they got flooding. It doesn't rain that much in Balochistan. It doesn't rain that much. It's like a dry region. It has more like it may be like I think 40-50 millimeter rain in the whole year. It's very less rain, and they get the flooding because of the overflow of water coming from the Himalayan region and glacier, and the monsoon rains, which are mostly in the central or upper Punjab, or in the northern side of Pakistan. So they get mostly flooding from that reason. So I was like thinking, what's their fault, when why they are losing all their homes and government is not doing anything? So these are the emotional things that I felt there. And so I hope like in future, the government, if we have a stable government, right now there is no actually democracy in Pakistan. It's like kind of a dictatorship. It's so-called democracy, like the government is there, the parliament is there. There was election in this year, but like it's all like mostly dictatorship, because it's controlled by the establishment of Pakistan, like the military establishment of Pakistan. So if we have a stable uh, democratic government, actual democratic government, I hope these things will solve and they will work on that, because we cannot live with that like every year. So because we have floods, even in 2024, we had floods on smaller level, but like it still affected like thousands of millions of people, not millions, but thousands of people. So yeah, and I hope like through this platform we have, or like if someone is listening, they have, or we more talk about this more in the future. Um, I can talk more about this, like how it affected and how sustainability actually. Yeah, I actually forgot one big factor of sustainable development, like how it can help in Pakistan on in future. For example, but no one actually, there is very less education about sustainable development in Pakistan. They in schools, and we have like in my university where I was doing my bachelor, there was sustainability program and everything, and they were working on that. There are researchers who are working on sustainable development, but the implementation is very weak, that I talked about earlier. So how sustainable development can help in the flood resilience in Pakistan? I think building flood resilient resistant infrastructure first of all is important, and which is like creating new reservoirs and building a very sustainable system to control them. Then land management first of all, and reforestation, like building more plants, building more trees, reforesting the regions which were deforested for the industrial use or for the land use, which is actually very, very like kind of sad that a lot of deforestation is happening in Pakistan for building new societies. And that's from the military establishment as well. Like they have DHA, which is Defense Housing Authority, and they actually removed deforested thousands of acres of mango orchards from my region. My region Multan is like one of the best region in the world to grow mangoes, and they actually deforested thousands of acres of land to build a housing society. So that's kind of deforestation happening in Pakistan. So reforestation is one of the big solution. Then community engagement, like how we can engage the community, how we can educate them to build early uh, like warning system, or like help them like creating some resilience so they can like face, or they can like act on time when they have floodings. And then like climate change mitigation, I think reducing carbon dioxide emissions on every level, like industry level or like on personal level, like for example, going to the public transport, reducing your own carbon footprint, like how much you're using. But on doing all that needs a big like a mind change. There should be like a lot of programs to train people, to educate people, like how you do that, how you, it's not only the government who is responsible for that. It's the people as well. If they start like having good lifestyle which is like environment friendly, then we can do that change, we can build that change, we can build more flood resilience in Pakistan. But it will be very long term, it will take years, so the action plan should be very soon. I hope so, and we hope like the things are better in the future, and we have a good government and governance actually, and policymakers that help our country. And it's not only about one person, it's about the whole country. Yes, Rory.
I think I put my hand up twice there accidentally.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
Um,
sorry.
so first of all, I just want to say a big thank you. It's like a really powerful story you're telling, and incredibly interesting to hear about all of the challenges that are going on. And I mean, I had no clue that there were 7,000 glaciers in Pakistan, and sort of that this was sort of this scale of challenge there. And I think kind of within the political context, the educational context, the cultural context, it is, as you say, an incredibly challenging situation to overcome. Um, I was wondering, are there sort of specific, I guess, with a lot of what we look at is focused around innovations. Are there specific areas of innovation that you think could be most impactful and important for Pakistan? And I guess to caveat that question, I guess you mentioned yourself that there are lots of early warning systems for natural disasters that are either whether or not it's in Pakistan, these systems are being developed globally, and yet we're still seeing more and more disasters having more and more serious impacts. So are things like early warning systems effective tools, or is there a need for something else instead of sort of warning systems? Is the greater need on combining that with solutions that can actually prevent as opposed to just warn about these natural disasters? Is there any sort of technological or innovation focus that you think would be a high priority?
Obviously, Rory, I mentioned earlier like how technology can help, but the innovation, like for example, first of all, that early warning system, like for example, using AI to detect like the weather patterns, like every, or maybe like building a graph, because like these floods are like coming like periodically, like after every 3 4 years we have a major flood event, like maybe building a graph, like using a graph of these events, or like the conditions, the temperature conditions, the humidity conditions, or like the carbon dioxide emission in the north, for example, which is melting more glaciers. Building a system using AI or something, or using more technology that can tell us like, okay, we can have like flood events this year. Or then like how technology can help more. I think technology can help more in like the urban planning, or building more good resilient infrastructure, like dams, for example, like Tarbela, like the biggest dam of Pakistan, Tarbela Dam, which is like the second biggest dam of the world as well. That's like that was built in 1960s, 1970s, sorry, and they haven't upgraded that until yet. So if they have more technology and build it like more resilient now, they should upgrade it. So definitely technology and innovation can help in that regard, definitely. Uh, there can be more factors as well, like which related to innovation that can help with that. But mostly, I think the NDMA, the National Disaster Management Authorities, and the Provincial Disaster Management Authorities, they should have like more updated, innovative solutions for that. But they have those old type like systems until now, and they're working with that. So that doesn't help actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes complete sense. And one of the things which I was wondering or reflecting on when you were talking through was, I guess, the way that these things are framed, because I think framing is always incredibly important in these conversations when it comes to political policy, decision making, spending, etc. Um, and understanding the political landscape, the lack of funding available, etc. Has the framing of the conversation around these issues, is it on its climate challenges, therefore we need climate change solutions, or has the framing moved on to it's about return on investment? So, in terms of encouraging the government to spend money, they shouldn't be spending money because they need to stop climate change. They should be spending money on early warning systems, because if they spend 1 million on an early warning system, then they'll save 5 million in disaster response. And sort of thinking about how those investments are framed, um, I guess, is something that I've started seeing in other countries. In Slovakia, there's possibly one of the challenges, I guess, the dialogue around climate change. Not everyone is as bought in as elsewhere. And what is more effective in engaging policymakers is talking about the financial benefits as opposed to the climate benefits. Is that something which is happening from your experience or not yet?
Rory, actually, this is really interesting question, but sadly, these investment that you talked about, like for example, they have a lot of fundings from UN, a lot of funding from different countries, and even like the government politicians, or like the government people, like for example, even the prime minister goes to different countries to ask for funding. Foreign ministers goes there and something. So they have a lot of funding, a lot of money to spend on long-term basis, investment that you talked about, to build more resilient infrastructure, or like building on these management authorities, or like investing actually. But the thing is, like one of the biggest factory, the problem here, it's like the corruption. Like the money is not actually spent on those things. It's not actually regulated. There is no proper audit of the money, where it came from. Yeah, everyone know where it came from, but where did it went, how it was invested. They are seeking funding, but that all funding is not spent on the people for aid, or for building more infrastructure or something, First of all, the aid they get, they have this approach like, oh, we will help the people, we will help them buying food, we will help them making houses, we will help them building schools or something. Okay, building school is good, but like, what on the long-term basis? Like, why not building good infrastructure, roads and embankments and everything, investing in the for the long-term solution? But it's not happening that much. It's like one of the biggest factors is, like I told you, the political instability and corruption, which is always there, which is the root of all the departments, which is always infecting, I will say, like all the departments. It is everywhere actually. And there is no uh like uh like system to audit or interrogate like where that money actually spent. So that investment thing, like approach, can be implemented, but that won't be followed that much if you don't have that political stability. Or I told you, like the root cause, if we won't work on the root cause, that all things will not work properly, Rory.
Yeah. Okay. No, it makes, I guess it's a very multi-layered, incredibly difficult challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone else have a question as well, yeah, I expected that. Yes, Tamer.
Thanks, Hasib, for the today lecture. I have a question regarding the structure of society itself and how it's affected. And I think I know the answer, but I think just to highlight it for our colleagues here about, does the structure of the society, like girls, for example, or women's, or business people, small business people, or old people, who really affected too much from these floods? Who you can say this is a really big value for us and that we need to protect them a bit more, and why?
Uh, that's a really, really good question. Actually, we work on that in our thesis as well. Uh, so, like the society system, like the family system in Pakistan is like mostly combined family system. And if you go to the rural areas, it's like more strong there, like two or three families living together, and their grandfather is living together, and they have grandchild there and son, and like they're all living together in a big household, right? So when this flood comes, like it affects the whole family. Everyone is affected. It's not like they're working independently and they have to work on their own to like revive or restore their house and everything, but like it affects the whole family. It can affect like uh 10 men and 10 women equally, or like it can affect in that family, it can affect like 20 children as well. It can affect like 10 old people as well, right? So it affects everyone. But the from my observation, wherever I went, like in during the 2010 floods and 2022 floods, even because I was observing, I went to my agricultural land which were affected. So I was looking at like, I think the first of all, the first priority should be, if we are working on like rehabilitation or like working for someone in that society, it should be children. First of all, how they're like traumatized by all that. Like imagine like the flood came and you're like swimming around to save your life, and you're like you don't have food in the age like you have to play. You don't have to think about any other problem than going to school or doing your homework or eating and sleeping. You're like just saving your life. You're looking at your parents, how they're struggling. You're losing someone in your family. You're losing your mother or something. You're losing your father just because of a climate crisis. And that trauma that you take all your life, I think it's children mostly which are affected. And second, I want to highlight is women, because the cultural system in Pakistan is strong, like especially in the rural areas. For example, in Balochistan, we went like is 300 kilometers away from my home. There is like the cultural restriction that women face. Like, for example, they cannot go outside freely. They have to cover them all the time. And like they have like a strong barrier like a cultural barrier from other men or something. So they have to rely on their husbands or like brothers or something for help. They cannot call anyone for help or something because there is a very strong cultural barrier, right? And the educational barrier, like the girls are the all the girls are not allowed to go to the school in like those areas, like tribal areas in Balochistan. It's improving now in our Punjab region. Like the girls are going to school, they have schools and education, but like in some parts of areas, it's intense. So the girls and women both they struggle. First, the women have more household chores, like they have more tasks, like they are taking care of the children, they're cooking food, they're working in the fields as well, like in agricultural fields as well. Men, on the other hand, they are working for like they're doing jobs and like maybe doing their business or something. But like women have more work to do in Pakistan. And not many people are talking about that. They have, I told you, like they have more bigger problems like political and everything, but no one is talking about it. The gender equality is not there. It's totally not there. It's not clear and it's not there. So women, children, first of all, and then women, and then like the girl student as a student, they struggle the most in that society. Yes, Amir.
I maybe Jambo's actually I have two questions in my mind. One of them, you already studied the problem for your master work. So from your point of view, how government or how society in Pakistan can tackle this problem? I don't think they are not able to tackle it from everywhere, like from policy, from government, from building infrastructure, increase awareness, because the financial consequence of that. So I don't think Pakistan has like a good financial state in order to spend on all of this action. So if you would like to recommend from where we should start, like as like a sequence of event or a sequence of action where government or society can follow in order to prevent this consequence in long term.
If you, I'm not talking about now, about like every, if I look on all the statics and all the information, I will tell you what I feel in that case. I feel like the education on climate change, education on disaster management, and education on basic knowledge, how to tackle that, uh, is first of all very important. Like education, educating people who don't know what is climate change, who don't know how to deal with this disaster, who don't know mostly uh, what are the after effects of the flooding or this climate crisis, or what is actually what will be their future. I will just, maybe it's like a bit off topic, but I will just like mention one thing. Like I live in a very old, very small town in Pakistan. It's called Alipur. And this year in 2024, last year in April, we had like one day we had like very strong storm, so it never happened actually. My family told me, I wasn't there. There was a lot of lightning and thunder and a lot of very heavy rain, and 24 people were killed in 1 hour of that because of lightning and thunderbolt. Just because of lightning in 1 hour. It's a very small town. And I was thinking like, oh my God, like this happening in my city, and people don't know how hard it will be in the future with the climate change, with the other things. And that was like a bit of like mind shaking for me. So people are innocent, kind of. I will say, like, people are innocent. They don't know about these things. They are just living their life. The temperature is rising, We don't have winter that much anymore. Uh, People are using fans in, like, for example, in February, and it wasn't like that. It was cold in February. It's not like that now. Mostly we don't have rains, and then we have rains. It's drastical. It's like very heavy rains that bring flooding and everything. Education, telling, giving people awareness that this is the problem, this is climate change, this is global warming, the whole world is affecting, and you are uh, a developing country or third world country, and this is the reality. You should know that, and you should act properly or on the in your individual basis. If government is even not acting, you should know how you have to face these problems. You should prepare yourself for the future. I was talking to my brother as well. Like often talk to my brother actually attending the meeting right now as well. So I talk to him a lot, like what will happen, this and that, if we will be able to live in that hot temperature, 48, 50 degrees Celsius in June and July, and it's rising every year. So it won't be able to live there anymore. So telling them like what can be in the future coming for you. So they maybe like they save their life, they relocate, they built like for example more good infrastructure for themselves, which is flood resilient or maybe climate change resistant or something like any disaster resistant. So education, Tamir, I will say educating them, giving them awareness is the most important right now. I think there are more people here that I know as well from Pakistan, and my bachelor's thesis supervisor and my one of my favorite teacher. She is joining as well. And if anyone wants to ask any question, you're welcome. Yes.
Well, thank you very much for the talk, because I want to empathize with you, because people know that I live in Alicante. Alicante is beside in Valencia, and Valencia we suffer what is called DANA. The DANA is called depressions, and there were 222 people died 3 months ago, and it was a very strong flooding, and we experienced the same effects on Pakistan. So we can distinguish that the climate change attack, you wanted to talk attack every country. It doesn't matter that it's a merged country or it's a very first world country in Europe. And one of the most problematic issues that was this dana, and I want to mention it for the debate, is that the people are getting used to the flooding. This is what was very shocking to me when we talked to the people from Valencia, and they thought that they can cope the flooding, because in the past they were living other floods, but they are not as strong as it's, because in this one they measure the normal liters per meter squads. The normal in flooding in Valencia is about, perhaps they can reach 200 liters, but this flood reached an average of 500 meters. So for me, it's very shocking to see that the people are get used to the flooding and they can cope with it, and they don't know because in the past they live the same situation. Is it something usual in Pakistan or not?
Actually, I think I felt like you were speaking exactly how people are in that situation in Pakistan. This is very normalized. I would say normal or normalized in Pakistan, that okay, your country is has these problems and you will have these flooding. Like people are always like mentally prepared that okay, this year we will have flooding as well. So people, as you're saying about Valencia, it's like that, in, for example, if you go to my region in southern Punjab, you tell them in, for example, March that, oh, be careful with your crops, be careful with your mangoes or something, because the flood is coming this year. They will say, oh, okay, we know that already. We had flood last year, we've had flood in 21, we had flood in 2019, we had flood in 2010. It's normal now. It won't stop because there is no action plan uh, actually. So they know it won't change that much. And a revolution won't come as well. So it's normalized actually for the people of Pakistan. I think it's more normalized for the people of Pakistan than people of Valencia there. It was very, very heart-wrenching. I saw like the videos of Valencia and Catalonia, how it was affecting that region. If it's coming here, so it's coming everywhere now. Yeah. Rory, you had a question as well.
I think that's cannot seem to take my hand down, unfortunately. So there
Okay,
was no
okay, all right.
specific question.
No worries. Anyone else? I'm like really excited to answer anyone on any question related to that if anyone wants to. We have like 5-6 minutes.
It's not a question, Haseeb. I think you are involved in Clouders Eye and you are aware of the different project in Clouders Eye. So, of course, you are focusing on Europe in general, but we are dealing with global challenge. So, how do you think that we can, as a Clouders Eye consortium, big projects, can help in such situation? Do you think that we can play any type of role there?
I will actually, Tamir, I'm really sorry. I will answer that question. I think my class fellow Sean, he is raising question. I think I will listen to him and then I will come back to your answer. I know the answer and I will do that.
Yep. Okay,
Yes, Sean.
please.
First of all, I would like to congratulate Haseeb. You delivered a really thoughtful and very impressive
Thank you.
lecture. So kudos for that. Uh, I just want to highlight some the positive aspect of it. I think I would like Haseeb to tell us about some of the inspiring stories about our local communities, which helped in like giving assistance to flood victims in those hard times. He knows that how people started raising funds and how they volunteering and they started supporting them. So I would like him to shed some light on that aspect also, because it is not like just we all are very insane about it. Very where the local communities are very much supportive in that point of view. So see if you like to shed.
Thank you so much, Sean, for raising that point. I actually mentioned that earlier, that how the community themselves like help when the flood comes. But this is a very big point, like how the people, first of all, the people of Pakistan, they're very good in like helping each other, like regardless of what financial condition they have, regardless of what situation they are, they will like go forward to help you. First of all, they will leave everything behind and then like help you. For example, if anyone is in trouble or something. But during the flood times, Sean is very right. Like how the local communities, they collect funding, they help people. For example, if we hear like, for example, that part of the river is like breaking, and then we have floods in that area. The people go there and they help the local community to build embankments, and how the people are contributing with fundings, how they are buying clothes, they are giving away their clothes, they are giving away food for the people. So it's like one of the big point that the people of Pakistan, they feel for each other and they are like helping a lot. I think the people of Pakistan are helping more, way more than the government is helping the people, way more than that. So this is a very big point. I'm really thankful to Sean to raise that point, and I hope it will stay like that because the people will always help each other in Pakistan. And but still, we need a system. We need help from government. We need strong policy or something, or like a system or educational campaigns, or what I talked about to help in long-term basis, right? Yeah, thank you so much, Sean. And now, Tamir, how our consortium, how Cloud Thai can help us help in that regard, or like flood resilience in any country, is not only Pakistan. I think again that factor, education, we can help in raising voice about flood resilience. We can help people, or we can do more for raising awareness, like people get ready. The climate change is not going to stop. It's like a bull, it's gonna chase you. It's gonna chase you always until you raise a red flag, like stop. You raise a red flag and then it comes, and like you have to save yourself. I did that the other way, you know but like you have to prevent that bull. It's coming, always coming. It's behind you. So we have to build an action plan, maybe through our Cloud Thai inspiring the minds, and other projects we have. We do more of awareness lectures, or more maybe emphasize the research, more research on flood resilience in different countries. And Antonio, maybe I think you were from Spain and you felt all this flooding, and we should focus more on Europe as well for the research. Like the floods are coming in Europe as well, everywhere. So emphasize the research more. I think that we can do through our consortium and through our Cloud Thai project. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your talk.
Thank you, Hasib, for this great insight and overall view. And again, the message here was a very simple message that we are not living in isolate universe. There is developing country. I think one of the biggest impacts that really drives this climate change is how developed nation like majority of Europe, like US, like China, they are using resources and in order to support their economy, and as a result they produce a lot of CO2, and they don't care actually about the rest. You care about your economy, you care about your society, you consume resources, you consume and produce more CO2, and you don't care about other nation. And here we see a very clear example that developing nation that suffer from weakness economy, suffer from weakness in the government structure, and they're really heavily like affected by this. Thousands of people die every year because of that. So actually this is something that is really in our core of inspiring the mind. It's inclusivity. It's not just inclusivity in a small society, it's inclusivity at larger level. So I think like it was a great talk,
Thank you
Hasib.
so much.
I don't know if there is anyone here would like to ask any question or suggest anything before we end.
No, also just to say from my end, really enjoyed the story that you told, Hasib. I thought it was very powerful. So thank you very much for that and very thought provoking.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining and everything. Yeah, thank you so much.
So thank you everyone for this, and I think we see each other next week on the 12th, correct, Rolly?
Yeah.
On the 12th at 3 o'clock with our colleagues from Alicante to give us some thoughts. And Christina, I think she's one of the early people who was involved in inspiring the mind. Even she was involved in the project before it became a project. So I think see all of you next week in 12 at 3 o'clock
Thank
using
you
the
so
same
much.
link.
Yeah,
Brilliant. Thanks,
same link.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you so much, everyone.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
بس تمام، اخبار حضرتك يا دكتور؟
ازيك يا محمد باشا، اخبارك ايه؟
الحمد لله، اخبار حضرتك ايه؟
الحمد لله. معلش في ناس معانا ياما في الاجتماع، بس هم غالبا كلهم مش موجودين يعني، فانا هعمل لهم سويتش اوف
تمام يا دكتور،
from
مش مشكلة.
meeting. تمام يا ريس، كله مشي.
تمام يا دكتور، اخبار حضرتك ايه؟
اخبارك يا محمد؟ والله الحمد لله مش حال. انا لسه ماضي العقد دلوقتي، هشوفه بس في السكاننج بتاعي،
تمام
ولو كده ممكن ابعته للشباب.
ان شاء الله يا دكتور، الف مبروك ان شاء الله على خير باذن الله.
قول يا رب باذن الله. في العقد اهو جه. بس اتاكد بس ان كله تمام. تمام، كله موجود ان شاء الله. اهو ممضي. يب. بس يعني لو ما بعتوش دلوقتي هنسى ابعته.
تمام
على الاقل ابعته دلوقتي، احطه على في التيم. تمام ماشي يا ريس. الخطوة الجاية أتوقع بالنسبة لموضوع الابليكيشن ده، احنا محتاجين بس نشوف، نكلمهم بقى في غضون الويك اند ده ولا كده، نقول لهم طريقة الدفع ازاي. زي ما قلت لك أنا أفضل لو نقدر ندفع من خلال الويسترن يونيون. في الحالة دي هنتفق معاهم مثلا نقول لهم هم عاوزين 1000 يورو. هنشوف تغيير، لأن للأسف مصر ما بتقبلش باليورو، مصر بتقبل بس بالدولار.
أيوة.
تمام. فهندخل كده على الجوجل ونشوف اليورو بتساوي كام دولار، ونقول لهم والله ده يعادل مثلا 1100 دولار ولا حاجة، لأن اليورو دلوقتي زي الدولار تقريبا. 1100 دولار ولا حاجة، وأحول لهم ال 1100 دولار على الحساب، على تليفون حد باسم حد فيهم، والشخص ده يروح يستلم الفلوس.
تمام.
تمام. أعتقد إن دي الخطوة اللي
مش
جاية.
هيبقى فيه انفويس وخلاص ان احنا حولنا لهم يعني.
هو كده كده الويسترن
العقد
يونيون
نفسه.
بيطلع العقد نفسه، والويسترن يونيون بيطلع اللي هو الاوردر بتاع التحويل. تمام. ولكن لو انت عاوز منهم اي حاجة تانية اطلب منهم، يعني لو هم.
لا، ده قصدي عشان الجانب التركي مش عشانهم هم.
لا، الجانب التركي اعتقد ان اهم شيء هيكون العقد، وهيكون طبعا هيبقى في عندي اللي هو الويسترن يونيون انفويسز اللي طالعه، هي التحويلات. وممكن في الاخر خالص ناخد منهم زي كونفورميشن كده انهم ياخدوا كل المبلغ المالي.
تمام خلاص ان شاء الله خير. بس هنشوف بقى هم يعملوا معانا اجتماع امتى عشان نبتدي نشوف الجزء التكنيكال، لان في كونتراكت منفصل تكنيكال.
معلش يا محمد، انا نسيت خالص اعمل
طب.
ستوب للريكورد. الحته اللي فاتت اتسجلت، مش مشكله بقى لما نقطعها.